Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And also keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Lastly, I'll be looking at the comments and responding for the next 3 hours after this video is released. If you want to chat, but you couldn't get your comment in within that time frame, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter. I'll put that in the description below, or email me. Thanks. All right, everyone. We are during the weekend of the preceding the trading week of August 9th. We're going to take a look at TIGR, Up Fintech Holding today. So I wasn't super familiar, though I had heard about them, I think maybe from the Wall Street Bets crowd, but they are a brokerage firm focusing on global Chinese investors. They have a trading platform for trading equities and other financial instruments. So I pulled up here the daily charts. If we look at the year to date, just to get sort of like the scope of what's going on. So they had this huge run up toward the beginning of the year, punching them from like 820 down here on January 5th, all the way up, topping out at 3850 in February. And then I don't know if there was other reasons for this, but much like a bunch of stocks, especially growth stocks, tech stocks, in February and March, got hammered down pretty hard and has been pretty caught in this range ever since. So a couple of things that I would look at from a charting perspective. Then we'll take a look at the indicators, and then we'll flip over to the data and finish up the video. But it is holding some pretty solid areas here. I mean, it's mostly like a slight uptrend that's lop off most of that top, to be honest, but it's just relatively kind of range bound in this area. And I don't love my range bound stuff to be this slight of an uptick, especially after coming down like we've seen here. So to me, this could be signaling a pretty bearish formation. Also, you see there is this sort of like recent peaking out of this range, but it like nothing really happened. So to me, what this says is potentially happening. I don't know, but potentially what's happening here is there's a bunch of sell orders, a bunch of folks that are very happy to finally just like close out their position when the stock gets to this level out of this range. And what I would look for in a stock that has like better growth potential is the opposite. I would look for a bunch of folks who are waiting for it to pick up, show some strength, and then they're going to buy in. And maybe that's a bit of what's happening around this area here, because we see that a couple of times. But we even see it when it came back down to that area again, but then it wasn't able to hold it. And again, I don't know if that could have been something in the news cycle on July 2nd or 6th or something. Could take a look here. So, okay, I don't know if it's just sort of like FUD in that sort of geographical area that caused some of that. I don't know, but there wasn't much buying pressure there, right? Because it just very quickly fell through and then had to essentially retest this slight uptrend on the downside again. So to me, this doesn't scream that there's a bunch of really sort of fervent, fired up buyers who are just looking for this stock to recover and make its next really big run. So I would just be very cautious of that. But otherwise, I would look for it to just kind of like stay in this range for the time being. What I'd sort of be cautious of if you see it happening is if it gets caught under something like this, again, sort of like taking out of range like this impulsive move up. So I know that I'm discounting that, and so but this is all just hypothetical, right? But if it gets caught under this downtrend line that aligns with these previous peaks before it had this very brief impulsive move up, then you see it topping out there again. I would be very, very cautious and worry that it's going to fall out of this band that it's been in and then establish something that looks more like a true downtrend, and that this was just sort of like an outlier few days or weeks, and that actually the momentum is moving down. So that's just what I'm seeing from the chart. Sorry if you're a TIGR bull and that is saddening to you. Let's take a look at the indicators and see what's happening. So you do have a bullish crossover at the moment. So that would be the good sign. It's sort of trying to establish itself and kick itself back off of the lower bound of this channel. We'll call it that for now. And the question here will be, how much of a bullish push can it get? Because it's sitting well under the baseline, right? It's down here way at minus 1.56, almost 1.57 with its crossover. And most recently, the bullish momentum came up a little bit, but then very quickly died down. And we had a bigger bearish run than we had seen recently. And so I'd worry a bit that the bears are picking up. I mean, even if we look at how far, no, it's slightly less than this, but that was a pretty catastrophic time in TIGR's life cycle. So, to me, it's sort of like going to make a decision point here at some point, or it's just going to continue to follow this along, and it'll bump into this downtrend line at some point and kind of make a decision whether or not it's going to burst out of that or fall underneath this anyway. But I would keep an eye on what that bullish crossover actually makes of itself coming up. Now the RSI, ever so slightly in the past couple of weeks, is looking somewhat bullish, just because it's not dipping back down. In other words, it's making a bunch of higher lows, but it really needs to sort of make a decision at the midline here. So rated about the 50 mark, it needs to decide, as you see, look back previously here and here, if it's going to be able to establish support over the midline, and that could give it the momentum it needs to make a run toward overbought, which is what pushed it into this area to begin with, or if it's going to get stuck underneath that midline and that's just going to shove it back down toward or into oversold again. So I would watch the midline very much. And then MA is kind of coiling up here. I mean, a bearish crossover, 20 crossing below the 50, and now colliding with the 200. So it'll be an interesting time to see what happens here. 200 is providing the support at the moment that it's trying to push off of, but it's sort of sticking the price activity between support at the 200 MA and resistance of the 20 MA. So we'll see what's going to win there. I mean, all of this stuff, because it was just so kind of bobbing and weaving, doesn't really give us much historical precedent to point us in one direction or another. On the data side of things, big upside here. So this to me is like the best of any of this, the best of the chart, the best of the data. The degree to which these analysts could persuade anyone institution-wise or retail-wise to come in and make some big waves in TIGR that could start buying up in sort of hopes that they can realize some of that over 50% upward return, that would be great. And just one sell that's counteracting those 4 buys is, pretty solid, given especially the chart that we see here. The thing I'd be cautious of, on the other hand, is short sellers coming in. Now, they did peel off a bit today and drop themselves below 10%. But I would keep, a strong eye on that. So the exchange is reporting almost 11% of the free float on loan. And so, to me, that starts to get very high. You see the utilization is also very high. Almost 80% of the shares available to be lent have been lent. And so there's a lot of activity, a lot of interest from shorts, it looks like. And if they come in and provide additional pressure on this stock that's already under a lot of selling pressure just organically, that could really make it a challenging environment in which to claw back and make runs toward back into the 20s here even. But good luck if you're in this one. It does look like a bit of a challenging chart to me, but the thing that I would be watching most closely for the time being on the daily here is this MACD. And if that bullish crossover can actually make anything of itself, the next thing I'd be looking at is what is the volume doing, because that volume has also been kind of diminishing as well. And I would want to see that volume come up with the bullish momentum of the MACD. That to me would signal maybe there's buying pressure like you saw back here. with all of these stretching above that blue line. And right now everything is suppressed, especially the buy volume, suppressed really underneath that blue line. Very, very low volume kind of situation, comparatively speaking. Well, good luck. I hope you enjoyed your weekend. I hope you have a good trading week ahead no matter what you're trading, and I wish you the best. I will see you in the next video.